When making a watermark, it's a good idea to make it quite large so you could use it on any number of sizes of files. And this particular file is set up so that it is 1500 by 1500 pixels square. It's 72 pixels per inch, and it is in grayscale mode. So under image mode, grayscale, which you can set when you create a new file. The graphics of a watermark should be complex, so more than just a solid X with a copyright sign in the middle of it. You can see here this has got a graphic of a watercolor brush through the background and some type. There's some drop shadows. It's got transparent areas all over the place, which is really what you're going for. I'm going to give you a demonstration why. On this image is a copyright symbol that is seen frequently around the web, and this is a solid color copyright watermark, and I'm going to show you why this is a bad idea. So I've just grabbed my magic wand tool and I am selecting each of these solid areas, which are really easy to select because they're solid areas. There's no transparency in there. And then I'm going to expand my selection by just a couple of pixels, which makes sure I get all of those little floaty ones around the edge. And then there's a feature in Photoshop that is called Content Aware Fill. So it's under Edit, Fill, and then you change it to Content Aware and click OK. And then deselect. And it's like it was never there. Content Aware Fill has become an extremely intelligent tool, and it can take texture and color from around the selection and fill in the area that you're deleting. It can even handle fairly large areas, but as you can see, there's absolutely no sign that that was ever there. So when you create a complex watermark, it becomes harder to select out and delete from an image. So here I've created a watermark and it fills the area mostly from side to side. It doesn't have to be this whole area, but it should at least fill one of the dimensions. When I make my brush by going to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and I'm going to call this my watermark brush, or stamp, let's call it a stamp. And then come back over to the picture. I'm going to grab my brush. See how this is quite big? This is good because then some of those really large pictures, if I decide to ever post those, it would be able to be used on that. So I'm shrinking my brush size down. I've got white as my color, and I'm just going to click once. And this is what this creates, this particular brush creates. And you can see it hasn't completely hidden the image anywhere. So if I handed this to somebody, they would have a good idea of what the whole image was. It's not hiding anything really important. It also has the name of the pretend company and a website where that company could be contacted if somebody wanted to purchase permission to use this image. There is also a copyright symbol, which is a good idea to use anytime you're trying to protect your images. Coming back over to the watermark brush, for your personal storage, what I would recommend is saving this file with all of its layers that you could come back and edit again if you needed to, and then save it JPEG so you've got a quick, easy version to access and email. To save the actual brush as an individual brush set, you need to go to your brush preset panel and then go to the drop down, choose Preset Manager, grab that stamp and say Save Set, and it will save it as a .abr file, which will be what you will load or email or could send and use elsewhere. You can take this brush anywhere you want and use it in another version of Photoshop even. Good watermarks should not have any pixelated graphics, so something that looks pixelated where you can see the square JPEG artifacting try not to create something with that. Make sure your text is crisp, and that if you've done any size changing or transforming, especially of text, make sure you hold down your shift key, which will keep that in proportion. Text gets especially, how do I say this? If you squish it or make it out of proportion, it makes it look slightly wrong, and the viewer might not know why it's slightly wrong, but it will just look kind of odd, and somebody that works with type extensively would point it in a second that it was squished. So avoid squished font. If you want something that's short and broad, find a font that has those characteristics. In the end, you should have a stamp that you could stamp on any image and protect your images. The one thing to remember though is if you truly don't want your images to be stolen, don't put them on the internet. Simple as that. If you do need to put them on the internet, protect it with a watermark stamp.